Are there any particular social situations which you tend to avoid, like for instance, giving a speech or meeting some new clients, or perhaps speaking a foreign language? Do you have this strange sensation? You can feel it deep in your body that you are tense before it happens? Do you feel tense even when you think about doing that? This is something we can call a social anxiety. If you'd like to learn more about it, stay tuned. Hi, this is Sebastian Antonovich, and on my 5-minute psychology channel, I talk about psychology and how it can make your life better and easier. A couple of weeks ago, I was giving a class for a group of teachers. Most of them, they were foreign languages teachers. And they asked me a lot about what to do to make their students use the foreign language. And there is no one easy answer to it, but in many cases, whenever a person avoids a situation because it makes them stressed out, because they feel they don't like it, they feel they are judged by others, or perhaps they feel that they are going to be seen as stupid, unintelligent, or silly. Whenever you feel like this feeling is stopping you, we may be dealing with a social anxiety. Social anxiety is the thing that stops us from doing something with other people because we feel that we are going to be laughed at. We are going to be seen as someone really unintelligent. And it seems like not a big deal because, come on, not everyone has to go with their friends to a swimming pool, right? Or for a coffee. Or not everyone has to give a speech in front of a large audience. Well, maybe so, but think how limiting it is for us. Think how many things we would be able to do without this anxiety. Now, I told that to these teachers, and I will tell you the same thing. The best thing, the best idea how to deal with a social anxiety is something that psychologists call exposure therapy. Have you ever heard about exposure therapy? This is what I use with my clients. Those clients who are afraid of giving speeches in front of a larger audience, or perhaps meeting these new clients, or reading something even to their own children in more extreme situations. And also, this is the thing that foreign languages students may have when they feel that their level of a foreign language is not high enough for them even to try and use it. It can stop us from doing so many great things, and I truly believe it's really worth it to invest some time and deal with this anxiety. Exposure therapy. What to do with it, how to use it. Before I move on, if you are new to this channel, welcome, and please make sure to subscribe so that you can get all the latest videos and be informed about everything I create. Exposure therapy is nothing else but to make the patient or the client feel more comfortable with the thing which makes them uncomfortable. And of course, everyone will have to decide on their own if they do want to fight their anxiety. Some people will decide that it's much better for them just to learn and live with this anxiety by avoiding all social situations which make them feel uncomfortable. For instance, are you uncomfortable using a foreign language? Don't use it. Of course, you will not get a better job, and even at work you will lose some development opportunities. Maybe you will not be promoted. Maybe you will not get a pay rise, but who cares, right? As long as you feel comfortable. That's one way of dealing with it, or maybe to avoid it. Another way is actually to get deep inside yourself and ask yourself a question. Do I really want to keep living in this limited life, or do I want to break these barriers? The decision is always yours. And if you do decide that you are no longer happy with living the life of fear and anxiety, the best choice for you could be exactly exposure therapy. And it starts with little steps. Usually a person suffering from an anxiety, like a social anxiety, has to expose themselves to a situation which involves this stressful aspect, this stressful element. For instance, are you afraid of speaking in front of a larger audience? Well, let's start small. Let's start by speaking to a group of people that you know very well and that you like and trust. For instance, preparing a short presentation for them and presenting in front of this audience that you know, or telling a joke when everyone listens. And I know that even that could be stressful, and that's perfectly fine, because the whole idea behind exposure therapy is breaking these little stones in the wall of your anxiety. Start small and go bigger. Whenever you see that you were able to perform, that you were able to give this speech even to a smaller audience of people that you know very well, it will give you this feeling that, okay, maybe it was not perfect and it doesn't need to be, but if I was able to provide a speech in front of a group of 5 people, perhaps next time I will be able to do it in front of a group of 6 or 7 or more. And it's the same with foreign languages. If you keep learning a foreign language, whatever this language is, and you have this impression that you've invested years and years of your life, and still, whenever you use this foreign language, you feel somewhat uncomfortable, you feel blocked, you feel that you can't explain exactly what you want to say, and even though you know you are very intelligent, but you know, the lack of a proper language level can make others see you as someone perhaps not as intelligent. In such situations, you have to force yourself to be exposed to a situation when you actually use this foreign language in front of others. And once again, it can start small by, for instance, placing some comments in the social media in this foreign language. And I know it may sound silly, because after all, writing is not the same as speaking, right? Of course, but for our mind, these two activities are related. And once you are able to make yourself comfortable while creating these comments in the social media in the foreign language, it will be a signal, an impulse for your mind to tell you that you are able in certain situations to express yourself in a foreign language. Of course, that will need to be step number 1. Step number 2 would be to speak this foreign language to a family member of yours, to a friend of yours, to a classmate, to your teacher. And once again, yes, perhaps this situation is a little bit artificial, because it is in a classroom environment. It's not a real world scenario. But once again, this is a signal to your mind that you are able to perform this activity more or less effectively. Remember, forget about being perfect. You do not need that in the process of communication. In whatever you do, perfection is something that stops us from so many things. And rather than that, it's better to be able to be effective rather than try to be perfect. Think about it. Think about the situation, social situation, that makes you feel uncomfortable. And whenever there is even a chance that this feeling of discomfort makes you resign from something, makes you stop from doing something, whenever a situation like this happens, this is a sign for you that you may be suffering from a social anxiety. All right, so you need to study your mind. You need to investigate the topic. You yourself, I want you to find it yourself, a situation which is uncomfortable for you. And once you have discovered what it is, plan a bunch of steps, a series of steps, from the smallest and easiest to a more and more difficult ones. So, do you have any social anxieties that you'd like to share with us? Or perhaps you know someone who is suffering from a social anxiety themselves. If you'd like to tell us about it as one step in order to become a little bit more comfortable in this social situation? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.